Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, you know, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Hello, and welcome to the Psych Legal Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. My name is Brooke Brigham, and I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
So earlier, I guess in the fall, we watched Love is Blind, season 3, and we recapped it here. If you're interested, you can go back. I think it was like November.
It was one of the earlier things we did.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is the Love is Blind After the Altar, season 3. And they've labeled this season 3 episodes 13, 14, and 15.
And at first I thought, are we going to do each episode? No. Because I am so angry. This could have been an hour, right? A meeting, if you're at a meeting and it sucks and you think this should have been an email, this is this example right now.
So
they could have done it all in an hour.
To put it in context, this is filmed 1 year after.
Yeah, summer of 22. That's
they have the weddings. Yeah, because apparently this was actually filmed like 2 years ago. It was actually filmed at the same time that season 2 was filmed.
Oh.
They were filmed at the same time, but they obviously put season 2 out immediately, and then they just shelved this one and waited. So all the dating, all that was like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 1 year after the weddings, and they're checking in with all of the couples. And
okay, can we talk about a few things?
Okay.
Because at the top of my notes, I wrote, I'm bored. I am so bored.
Because I loved this show. I loved it. So
were you bored by these episodes?
Yes, I was.
I was bored and angry.
I loved Love is Blind, the actual season.
Yes.
So I was kind of excited to watch this. And yeah, it was boring.
And those goddamn gold things.
The goblets.
The goblets. It's like a Where's Waldo thing. Because there were scenes where, you know, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, but I mean, there were scenes that were so innocuous, like at the ring store. Really? You guys carry these stupid gold goblets? Like, you can't have clear glass. It was just, and I know it's a Love is Blind thing, but I almost got this feeling of like the producers thinking, this is funny.
They do think it.
They think it's hilarious. And it's like, no, now it's not fun once you're aware of it. It's not fun to the rest of us.
Yeah, because I Googled it because I was like, what is with these gold goblets? Well, it originally started out to be for continuity.
Yes.
So if people's drink levels were going up and down, they could cut and paste things. And that right there should tell you that there's a lot of trickery going on with this editing. But then the producer said that he just thought that it was cool. And so they decided to keep it and put it everywhere.
Yes.
Like they go out to a restaurant and they've got those goblets.
Yeah. And I'm like, so
they have to bring them with them everywhere.
Yeah. Yes. So the production's like, oh yes, put this in your goblets. Ugh.
Yeah. So anyway. But please listen to the rest of the podcast, even though we just said it was a boring show.
I guess that's not good PR.
That's not good advertisement.
No, but it's good. And listen, an angry recap is a good recap.
Yes,
okay,
it's probably better.
I'm fired up by a lot of different things.
If we liked it, so okay. Who do you want to talk about first?
Oh shoot, I wrote them down not as couples, but I wrote it down like as a progression of what happened.
That's fine.
So So basically episode 13 starts and it's 1 year later and Raven is at the airport and who is she there to pick up? SK. And of course, we all know now, right? They're together. But that's not how it
were together.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
And then we see, and then they greet each other, and it was like, okay. And then we see Alexa and Brenden, and they're going over to Alexa's house for Friday Shabbat dinner. And now we see, oh God, we meet Morgan, the stepmom.
Wait, are we still on Alexa and Brenden?
Yeah. Sorry, because this is how the show...
Yeah.
It obviously had this thing where it's like, okay, let's introduce everybody at various stages of what they're going on, and then let's get them together and have all the girls talk and the boys talk.
Yeah. So at Alexa's house, I had a couple observations.
Yes.
Is that her dad frightens me.
Well, her dad's kind of a pig.
Yeah.
Right?
He scares me. And I don't know if he's kidding or he's serious. And what was it that... Brenden says that Alexis says, Alexa?
Brenden.
Brenden. I have both their names wrong. Brenden says Alexa's dad and his relationship is vulgar.
Yeah.
What does that mean? But
so the whole family is vulgar. And this is, again, how you were raised. Because listen, our parents are not prim and proper, but they don't talk about sex with us. I mean, they obviously gave us the birds and bees talk, but they don't talk about
I don't think I ever even got that.
Yeah. I just feel like this family talks about everything. Everything is right out there.
Yeah.
And everything is shared. And again, I don't know. I'm a believer that some things need to be private and some things need to be private from your parents, because not everyone needs to know everything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's vulgar. I think that they make a lot of like rude jokes and sex jokes and all that kind of stuff, because that's definitely a family trait.
Yeah. And I think the dad, he likes to, tease is kind of a mild word. I don't know what you'd call it. Yeah, like tease Brenden and give him a hard time. And yeah, and Alexa is basically just like the family. She's like the little princess, and they joke about that. And she's proud of it.
Yeah.
That she's like the little princess. And I don't know. I would not want to be around that family. But you were saying that, yeah. And
Morgan, the
stepmom, who they kept saying she was the same age as Alexa.
Yeah, I think she's true. I think she's around... She's probably early 30s, because there was a younger kid there that I think is their kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously like this is the second family, right? This is the stepmom, the second wife. But she was a lot. All of it's a lot. It's just a lot.
And then here comes Brendan's kind of, down to earth country family. And it's a very odd pairing. And then
but they're all meshing well.
Yeah. Alexa says something too about this. Made me wonder about
Alexa. What do you keep calling?
I don't know. Alexa.
The show has like made us insane. Alexa.
They start talking about when they were going to have kids, and she said how lucky their kids would be to have 3 sets of grandparents. So it's counting. So because Brendan's parents are divorced, and then I know a stepdad was there, and maybe even a stepmom.
So maybe Alexa's.
So where is Alexa's mom?
Maybe she passed away, or maybe she's just not in the picture, or she doesn't live around in Dallas.
Well, I don't know. Alexa doesn't consider her part of this grandparent group, because 3 sets would be Brendan's 2 parents and their spouses, and then her dad and his spouse. So anyway, I don't know what that means.
All right. And then we flash to Matt and Colleen. They're going to the dog park. So obviously they're profiling the couples that are together, right? Like the ones that are first. So we see Matt and Colleen. Matt is very lovey-dovey. Matt has a dog. And I just have to tell you, Matt, get your damn dog fixed. It is not okay for you to not fix your dog.
Yeah, the dog humps Colleen's leg all the time, and she's tired of it.
Yes, and I don't blame her. And I don't think it's also good for the dog. But we learn, the one big thing that we learn is they're still living separately. They both live in their own places.
Which I think is okay.
Yeah, actually, I don't think it's such a big deal. I just saw this morning, yesterday they were profiling, I think on New York Times or New York Magazine, about couples that all sleep in separate bedrooms, and they all are so much happier. Yeah, they love it. So I think this is kind of a new trend.
Well, I think it's appropriate too, considering when they got married, they'd only known each other for 2 months.
Yes, that too.
So, I think it's a good idea, and they're still together, so that's good.
And then we flash back to Raven and SK, and they live together. Woohoo! And we learn that they took some time out to process everything, but SK says that he still had a lot of love for her, so he reached back out. And
they don't exactly live together because he's still in school.
But they do claim that they have this apartment together. When he's back from school, he's there. But you're right. It's not full time.
They don't live. Yeah.
But SK's got a full-time job. He's going to grad school and he has an internship. I mean, that's insane. So, and you have time for Raven and other things that we're going to learn at the end. SK is not who we thought he was. Okay.
No.
All right. And then we get to, and this was another one that was perplexing, Nancy and Bartise. And Nancy, who I really like Nancy, but Nancy, you know how reality stars, right? You're on TV for one season and the second season you do the glam up. Mm-hmm. Nancy took this a little too much. Like, it's not like she got a bunch of fillers and a boob job and, new teeth, but she definitely was stepping up. Like,
she got the blonde
hair and the outfits that are really
heavy makeup.
Yeah. And every outfit these people wore wherever they were was nutty. The only person I think that dressed appropriately for every occasion was Raven.
Yeah.
It was just a little much. It was like, I'm going to meet Bartise, so I'm going to wear this like dress gown thing and do my hair. And it was a lot.
Yeah. And so Nancy, I don't know. This whole thing was so weird because Bartise obviously doesn't give a shit about Nancy.
Yeah.
But Nancy feels compelled to have to remain friends with him.
Yes.
And later she realizes she actually really doesn't. But and her mom and her brother also tell her, why do you need to be in each other's lives?
Yeah. Well, she then wants to tell us about the wedding day, right? And almost explaining her family's reactions. Like why her mother and her brother reacted, reacted the way that they did. And then, I wrote down like Nancy seems to have changed her tune. Like the sense that I got at the end on that wedding day, it was very intense, but very much on the wedding day, she was like, hey, listen, if you're not going to marry me, then we're done. This is it.
Right. Like she's okay with it.
And now it's like, wait a minute. Are you guys hanging out? You're trying to make him part of your life? And I don't know. It's just like, Nancy, you're better than this. Like, stop.
Yeah, you don't need Bartise as your friend.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary.
And what interesting things does he have to say?
And what can he do for you? He's already on another reality show trying to find love.
Yes. And I'm going to talk about that too. But right.
I'll wait.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so now we do something that they did before where it was like, we see everybody, Alexa, Nancy, Colleen, Raven, Zenab. They all go to a bar and they're all, again, decked out, Nancy. And we get this update on their lives. And so the only person we haven't seen yet is Zenab. And she talks about how she has a man in her life, her therapist, which is very good. And then she said something about people were teasing her because she was going to Vegas a lot. I'm like, what's that about? I don't know.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. And then she says she's working on herself. She felt like she needed a male perspective. So she found this male therapist and she's working on herself. So that's where she's at.
Okay.
But again, and this is why it was so boring. It's like we see Alexa again. Her marriage is good. Raven, how are things with you and SK? Good. Nancy and we just saw it. Like we don't need to we didn't. And they kept flashing back to like Alexa and Brenden and Matt and Colleen because they are the couples that are married. And we have to hear everything again. Like, yes, we're really happy. Oh, he does this well. It's like, no one gives a shit.
Yeah. And they're all, when they're at that little brunch, they're all like, it was a little over the top for me. They were all
Which
like,
brunch? Was this
the girls?
One? Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, yes, go girl. You do that. Yeah. They're just like cheering each other on. And yeah, like they had these topics they had to bring up and questions they were told to ask. Yes. And then they're all just each other's cheerleaders. And I don't know. It just seemed very weird to me.
Yeah. And then Nancy brings up this whole thing with Bartise about how they are trying to be friends. But one night things got intimate and she decided that they needed boundaries. And then I started to get confused because I was like, wait a minute. I think up until this point, I thought Nancy was the one that said no to Bartise. I forgot that he said no to her.
Yeah.
So I was so confused by this. Like, what's happening?
Well,
I don't know.
Look, she's trying to remain friends with him because she feels like she should. And he's Bartise. One night they had too much to drink and he started making moves. I don't know what happened. And then she was like, oh, wait a minute. This guy was awful to me. What am I doing?
Yeah, I think she really, I mean, I don't think she's willing to admit it, but I think she likes him a lot. And I think she would honestly, she would say no to your face. No, I don't want this. But I bet you anything at that moment, if Bartise said to her, well, let's give it a chance again, I feel like she might. I really do.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. That's just my theory. But so, and then we learn about Alexa's birthday party. And now we see Cole, poor Cole, is still the punching bag for all these women because they were laughing at him. And we see Cole now for the first time with some friends at the bar. And he said that after Zenab made that big speech and the wedding was over, he threw himself into work, dating, nothing serious. And he's thinking about moving to San Diego.
Yeah. Gosh, he's so young. Move to San Diego, have fun. I think maybe religion has something to do with this because remember his family was very, he's very religious. Remember he and Zenab prayed together and stuff. He's religious. I think his family's religious. They didn't even want to meet her unless they were officially married or something. Anyway, I think it's been drilled into his head that, okay, now you graduated from college, you need to go and get married, start a family, have some kids. And he's very focused on that. And he doesn't really want to do that. Yeah. Nor should he.
Nor is he mature enough.
He's not mature enough. Go to San Diego, work, date, whatever. Then maybe when you're like 32, 33, and start dating seriously.
Yeah, I think that's
you have plenty of time.
So Cole's still a little confused, though, because he says he's still traumatized. He felt like Z, that he calls her, is not kind. He feels betrayed by Z, feels like she lied to him. And we learn later a little bit more about this, but I still think that these two are very confused about the relationship. Like neither Zenab has her ideas about the relationship and Cole has his. Yeah. And even when they talk later, I still feel like you guys aren't still kind of getting to the point.
No.
And something, I mean, this was never going to work because the two of you have different perceptions of what's happening in the moment.
It's like they're living in two different realities. Yeah. And Zenab said, this really got me because even though she totally dressed him down at the wedding and said all that stuff to him about how, he had basically ruined her life, she says to him, oh, but, I still meant all of the nice things remember the nice things I said before I said all that? I still meant all that, but you never wanted to be with me. You never loved me. And she turned it around on him. She's like weird.
Her.
I don't like her at all because she makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get to that scene because I have a lot of feelings about that scene, but I absolutely agree that, I think Zenab really enjoys being that woman at the brunch, and everyone being like, how are you, Zenab? Are you surviving? Oh, it's so great to see you. Have you healed? And I think she loves being the person who's like, she's kind of basic. Like, I think that, I swear to God, I bet you she plays that I Will Survive song on repeat. And I'm like, yes, I will survive, She's one of those types of women who drive me bonkers. So... But now, so we see all that. Now we have to go see all the boys. The boys are together at a bar because women have brunch and men go to a bar and play pool and eat chicken wings. And, again, it's just the flip side of everyone's reality, and everything. Like Brennan's probably going to say things are good. Matt's going to say things are good. Right. Like there was nothing.
They all said things were great or they're fine. Everything. There was nothing deep.
Yeah.
Like it was all surface, like broing out together. And
well, yeah. What was really interesting is that this is a phrase everyone said a lot. Everyone kept saying, I said yes for a reason, or I said no for a reason. Like that is sort of this, Matt and Colleen, well, we said yes for a reason. So there's a reason behind this. We said no for a reason. So there's a reason behind it. I don't know. It's becoming like the "I'm not here to make friends" phrase, or whatever a bachelor phrase is. They're not here for the right reasons.
For the right reasons. Yeah.
And then we go and we see SK and Raven again, and SK's brother AB is in town. And then how does the episode end? That's the end of 13.
I don't know. They all blend together.
Yeah.
I just wrote down kind of like couple by couple.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I don't know where it stops and starts, honestly.
And then we go back, and then we started the next episode. So essentially, we've learned nothing. In this one episode, everyone's fine. Everyone's doing well. We're exactly where we were a year ago,
Right.
essentially.
Nothing has changed. Well, except for Raven and SK.
Yes, that is
are
the one
now
thing.
together.
So Raven and a friend are working out, and she's saying, well, yes, she and SK are good. She's focusing on school, and she's open now to, maybe moving. And that's the only thing we learn. Yeah. And that was it. Like, did we need to see that? No,
she just wanted to promote her Pilates skills a little bit.
I guess so. And then we get to Nancy and another outfit. I don't know what this outfit was, but it was just, again, I think she was just at home. Do you know what I mean? You're at home talking to your mom and your brother.
Oh, yeah. Weren't they looking at, because they're flipping houses?
Yes,
they're looking at tile or something.
She's looking at tiles. And it's just like, why are you wearing a dress?
She's all dolled up. Yeah.
So she tells her family about Bartise, where the relationship is today. And, she admits like Bartise has never really owned up to his part, but Nancy seems to still think, Nancy still, again, like I said, Bartise is the same and Nancy is still into him. And
because she still cares. She still cares very much what he thinks of her, the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's just right back there.
Yeah.
And remember how he was telling her basically, I'm not attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have picked Raven, all this stuff. And that whole time when they were living together after the pods, and she just kept trying to stick it out, make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just a glutton for punishment.
She is.
This guy.
She is. I think you know what it is? I almost feel like she sees him as her flip. Like,
almost,
like
I'm going to turn this guy around.
Yeah, I'm going to flip Bartise. And trust me, if someone came up to Bartise and said, there's a new show, it's called Flipping Bartise, he'd be like, great, sign me up. Where do I do this? Oh, I'm back with Nancy? Yeah, I'll sleep with her a few times in order to like get on TV.
To make it look like I might flip.
Yeah. And then we see this whole scene irritated me. Zenab and her friend are getting ready for the big party, and she's super anxious to see Cole. And it's just, again, it's another one of these like, I will survive speeches.
But then she says, I got to look really hot.
Yeah.
When I see Cole.
Care.
Of course, yeah. You care a lot.
Yeah. All right, now we're back to Alexa and Brenden, and they're prepping for Alexa's birthday. I thought Alexa was turning 30 or something significant. No, it's like 28.
Oh, yeah. And what's the theme? It's something like crazy,
roses,
crazy, sexy, cool.
Yes.
It's a theme.
Oh, God. And so she's wearing basically, we don't see the outfit till the last minute, but she's wearing essentially a bodysuit that's all lace that you can see through with
a G-string. Yeah.
And that's it.
It was not a flattering dress at all.
It wasn't. And listen, I'm all for body positivity. Yeah. I'm all for Alexa owning who she is and how beautiful she is. And she's really, really beautiful. She is. But it looked really cheap.
And she had these gloves. Silly. Yeah. It was like she was going to be performing in a burlesque show.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
She had these long black gloves on, and then I didn't like the top of the dress. Didn't really flatter her chest. I mean, I didn't like it, but she's beautiful.
She is. And then there's this really cheesy thing. This is why I totally feel like they just felt like they had to fill time. Okay, let's see everyone come in slow-mo. Let's give everybody a rose, and then they're going to
spin around.
And so we have to watch everybody do this.
That was so cheesy. I mean, that was super cheesy.
It was.
Whoever produced this is just, they need to get back on track.
Yeah. So this, I think, was very interesting, which is Colleen starts monitoring Matt's drinking. So I do think, and someone else pointed this out, talking about how they're a little bit of like the Bickersons. They're always bickering.
Yeah.
But this is actually a little more serious. You haven't been married that long, and you're telling us about how on the wedding night he passed out because he drank too much. His boys got him too drunk. I mean, I get the sense that Matt drinks a lot at these things and then kind of like drinks to excess, and Colleen ends up having to take care of him.
Well, that's when they got in their big fights on the show, was when he was drunk. One of them, he didn't even remember.
Yeah.
They had this huge fight. And then he says this a couple times. He says that his love language is annoying people.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, and Matt thinks he's really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still doing Borat. I mean, hello, Matt. It's 2023. Like, to say my wife a million times is super annoying. No one thinks it's funny. No one does.
Yeah. That's not Matt. That's actually not one of the love languages.
Yes.
You can't just take something random and call it your love language. It doesn't work that way.
Yes. Oh, and then dun dun dun, Cole shows up and Zenab gets instantly angry.
She's like, I'm not going to talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
He's going to have to walk up to me and do the work. Bah, 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 bah. And then the minute you start to feel sorry for Cole, then Cole starts to comment on Alexa's stepmom. He's like, oh, is that the stepmother? Wait, hold on. Who? And he starts like kind of getting into her. And you're like, Cole, I was there with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like for a good half hour of the show.
He
was with you.
He looked like and sounded like he'd been drinking a lot because I think he was nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. And then like Brenden and Cole, they have beef. And this I thought was super dumb.
Well, I think it's because Alexa and Zenab are really close.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like team Zenab.
Yeah.
And they're mad at Cole. But that's just dumb. That's childish.
It is. Like, Brenden, what have you got?
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's your wife's friend. Just stay out of their business and you worry about your business, And I can see Alexa's very has to be in everyone's business.
Yeah. And then Cole says he didn't do the things Alexa told him. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. So basically, and again, this comes back to the fact that these two, Cole and Zenab, have such different perspectives. So I think Zenab had her perspective of Cole putting her down all the time and commenting on her weight and all of that. And I think that she went right to Alexa. Alexa goes to Brenden and she goes, you need to talk to Cole, blah, 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 blah. And then poor Cole is just like, wait, what's happening? He still doesn't, he doesn't understand why he has beef with Brenden, because not even that he doesn't understand, okay, this is this is Zenab's friend's husband. I think it's almost to the point now where he doesn't even know what the content of why he's angry. No. He just knows he's angry and that Cole's in trouble.
Yeah, he knows Alexa has told him that that's how
that's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
These two. And then Brenden gives a speech. Alexa gives a speech. I mean, it's so stupid. And then Nancy and Bartise, they take some time apart. Again, I think the producers, said to Bartise, like, you're going to need to go talk to Nancy for a while. And, she tells him that everyone thinks that she's a fool for hanging out with him. So she ends up saying, no, we cannot be friends or hang out anymore.
He's like, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, Bartise, he said, I am sad. And then
went and got another drink.
Yeah. And then
went on. And now he's on the next Netflix Finding Love show.
And then Cole approaches Zay, and then dun dun dun, this episode ends. Okay.
I don't even care. I don't even care.
I didn't even care. I didn't even care.
I don't think I really listened. All I heard, I heard the part about how she said, well, didn't you hear all the nice things I said before I cussed you out? Basically.
Yeah. Well, I sat down and started. Okay. So Zenab and Cole go and have a conversation. Now, Zenab is doing the thing that I really hate, that I think a lot of women do, which is she's being so dramatic about everything. It's that I Will Survive song playing in her mind, right? And Cole apologizes. He's like, he feels bad. He had no idea he made her feel that way. He, really did not think about it at all. And you look at Zenab and then she's pursing her lips,
just waiting when she can unleash.
Yes. She's not listening to him at all. She's not listening to him say, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't know I did that.
He also apologized at the reunion.
That's right. He did.
He's already apologized.
This poor guy has been confused for a year.
Yeah. And he was very apologetic. Not like, well, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
He was from what I recall, very apologetic. What more does she want from him?
No, and this is the other part of it too. It's been a year. So I understand that if you do the show and maybe you're doing the after the whatever, a couple months after, okay, you're still hurt, you're still upset. But this is a full year, a full year. And you say that you're in therapy, but you're really not. Again, I think she's just telling her therapist, this guy treated me horribly and he did this and he did that. And I think the therapist is just like, okay.
What now? You can moving on.
Yeah. I mean, but again, that's the whole thing about being in therapy when you're alone is that you can only, as a therapist, you can only know what they're telling you. You don't know. So she doesn't have someone that's like going back to her and saying, hold on a second, like this therapist should probably watch Love is Blind. So she's just pursing her lips, waiting. And then Cole very much, I get the sense that he really wants to resolve things. He didn't see it coming. And he said, I didn't see it coming. She asks, what did he think she would say? And then Cole says, no. I'm like, okay, Cole, so you did see no coming. And I think what happened was that I think he expected a no, but I don't think he expected the speech. And I think he expected her to say, no, I love and care about you, but this isn't going to work. Bye. And he is so confused because Zenab then asks him if he listened to the good things that she said about him. And then again, he says, that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
You said no to me. And then on the one hand, you told me I was wonderful and all these great qualities. And then on this other hand, I got really confused. And then Zenab negates him. She cuts him off. So he's telling her, I was really confused. Zenab cuts him off and says, no, it wasn't confusing. So that's what she says to him. It wasn't confusing. It's like, okay, Zenab, not for you. But
for him,
Cole is telling you it's confusing. And then her whole thing is like, Cole, you're not a bad person, but he was bad to her. And then Zenab says she thinks that Cole didn't treat her well because he didn't want to treat her well. And I feel like that is a whole host of mess right there.
Yeah. What are you saying? This guy is just some crazy person who set out to destroy you? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she decided that I don't know, I feel like she projected a lot of her insecurities, her issues, her stuff on him when he wasn't saying those things. He wasn't, commenting on her weight. He wasn't saying anything about those. But I think she felt so insecure that she projected all of that on him. And in her mind and her work on herself, she sort of was like, oh, he's a sweet guy, but I guess he just didn't want to love me. And her attitude in that is not this resolved place of, being in a good place. It's more of, yeah, and you didn't want to love me. And so, that's okay. That's okay. I'm fine with this. Smile, smile, smile. And then Cole says he thought they would date after the wedding. And so she was just, so I felt like the entire time, I just felt like she was paying him lip service. I think she's still mad at him. I don't think she's healed.
I don't think the therapy is going that well.
She's still really, really mad at him.
She's really angry.
And quite frankly, I think Cole is still confused. I really do.
Again, the best thing for Cole to do is just
go to San Diego.
Move on. Yeah, forget this not forget it, but this chapter of your life is over. And Zenab needs to stay in therapy.
And just I almost feel like Zenab made this horrendous. Like, I feel like Zenab sabotaged this for herself. I really, really do. I think that she connected with Cole. I think her insecurities and all of her unresolved traumas from her childhood and not having parents that died very early. I think she projected all of that onto him. And do I think Cole's an awesome guy who should get married? I think he's a nice person, but no, he shouldn't be married. Like, no, it's a good thing they didn't get married. But at the same time, Zenab, in her mind, she's decided that how she's going to cope with this is just telling herself this story, which is he's a nice guy, but he didn't want to be nice to me story. And it's like, well, no, that's not true. Like, you're not taking any ownership, right? Like, it didn't work out because he wasn't nice to her.
Right.
Versus,
it's all his fault.
Anyway, that's the end of that. I'm sorry. I just had to get all that out. I was so furious when I watched that. It was a lot.
So is that the end of the party, basically?
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. It's the end of the party. Matt and Colleen go and see Matt's parents. Matt, they learn that Matt goes to all of Colleen's ballet performances. And of course, the parents are trying to get Matt and Colleen to move in together.
And start having kids.
And start having babies. And then again, it's back to this whole thing. SK is buying a ring to propose again. Alexa and Brenden are walking the dogs. It's just, he gives her a gift of a onesie. It's like, oh, fucking cares.
Yeah.
There's all these little scenes.
Well, yeah. I think that I don't have a lot of hope for Matt and Colleen.
I don't either. Sorry.
I mean, Alexa said, whatever.
Alexa.
Brenden and Alexa, they'll stay together just because I just think he's really totally in love with her. Yeah. And I think that'll be fine. But let's talk about SK and Raven.
Yes.
Now, I have to say that I never really felt a huge spark with these two. Because remember when they first moved in together, they weren't sleeping together. They were taking it slow. And I never felt like there were huge sparks. It was more like Raven just kind of eventually... Because I don't think because she'd said, this is not the typical guy that I usually date. I'm not used to this kind of energy. And it took her a while. But then she realized she got comfortable with him. And, all that happened. And then they get back together. And then I kind of felt like their scenes together, it was the same kind of thing. It was like this, they're comfortable with each other. They care. But they didn't, or at least the show didn't do a good job of showing if they're like really madly in love. They didn't do a good job of showing it.
Yeah.
Because there just seemed to be no energy there. And then even after, so at the very end, it ends, the final show ends with Raven sitting on her couch.
Well, hold on. You didn't mention that SK proposes to Raven.
Well, yeah, you just said that.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Forgot it.
Well, yeah. Okay. So he re-proposes to her.
She says yes.
Buys another ring, surprises her. She says yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. And they hug and kiss. And that was about it. It was very
Yeah. And I thought
short.
It was odd.
It was
I was
short.
like, oh, we're ending this kind of early.
Yeah. So then the next scene is she's sitting on her couch, kind of crying a little, I guess. I don't know. And she's just like, she basically said, I didn't see this coming. SK cheated on me. And I don't remember what she said, but she was very much like, I don't know. Again, she didn't seem really very emotional about it.
No, I feel like she was emotional about it. I think that Raven, it takes a lot I think it takes a lot for us to see Raven be vulnerable. And so I think that, again, even with the beginning of the relationship the first time around, that I think this was always hard for her. And it was hard for her in the pods, right? She's the one that did jumping jacks with Bartise. I mean, I think it's really hard for her to open up. I think SK really made her feel safe. And what she said, I thought that was very interesting is that SK isn't who we think he is. That the SK that we see on TV isn't the SK that is really him. And she also wanted to believe that too. So I feel like she's kind of a closed off person. I think SK wasn't the typical guy she goes for. I think she allowed herself to fall in love with him. And then he breaks up with her and at the altar. And that was really painful. And then he comes back around and she's like, okay, I'm going to open myself up again. And I think they went through all of this and she proposes and then she finds out about cheating. And I get the sense that she was just like, closed
back up. Yeah.
Closed back up.
Well, when you say that, so when she says SK isn't the person you think he is, what do you think that means?
I think that SK always, when we were watching the show, everyone always thought that SK was this really nice, solid guy who wanted to get married, who, wanted to, do this experiment to find love, and that he was really a stand-up committed guy. And I basically think that, he's
just a cheater.
Yeah. I think he's a little more manipulative than maybe she wanted to, because I think that she was obviously, as we all were, shocked when he said no. We were all shocked when he said no to her.
Right.
Shocked. We all assumed it would be her saying no.
Right.
And that she got to this point of saying yes. And I think that he got scared, or he, I don't know. I don't know what happened that first time, but I think that he is someone who maybe needs things to be interesting all the time. I think he needs kind of constant things happening and all of that. I also think it's very interesting that he applied for the show and did the show right before he was going to leave for several years to leave town, when they pick everybody for the shows because of the geographical place that they live in. So I think that's very interesting. And then the fact that, again, people do get to these points in their lives and it's good, right? He's working full time, graduate school, internship. I think there's some people who just like to fill their days and fill their lives with stuff, so they never ever have to slow down or ever think.
Well, because the way that he cheated, and I think
you know about this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ooh, good.
And I think it happened more than once.
Ooh.
And there's receipts. I mean, this is the woman came forward. Okay. So he was cheating on her with a woman, and obviously the show is airing. So he tells this woman, that show that I'm on, that's just something that I did, it's not real. We're not together. Don't believe any of that. And, I think she bought it for a little while, but then, realized that he was lying. Mm-hmm. And I think he did that at least twice with two different women and said, don't ignore that show that you see on television. That's just fake. Mm-hmm. And we're both doing it for publicity. Because
what does SK need publicity for?
I don't know. He's planning something, but Raven has since this show, she has a very successful Pilates. She's online. She posts stuff for free. She has programs. She's monetizing this. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that is why she went on the show. Yeah. And he has something he wants to monetize, but it's never going to happen because we've found out he's a creep. So he was telling these women, we just did this. It's just for the show, for the publicity. We're not in a relationship.
Well, do you think do you think that Raven really didn't love SK?
No, I think she did. I think she did fall in. I think she maybe didn't expect that to happen. Mm-hmm. I think she did. Mm-hmm. Although it's hard to tell because, like I said, I just don't see, the way she talked about him was very just kind of he's so great and he's wonderful. I don't know.
I just think that Raven that's not Raven's
She's just
style.
not an emotional person.
She's not Zenab. She's not Zenab, and she handles things differently.
Yeah.
And I think that she also, right? I mean, I think she probably went on the show thinking, okay, the best case scenario is I get a bunch of followers and I fall in love.
Right.
Worst case scenario is I get a bunch of followers.
Right.
Or, and a few followers.
And I get, I get.
But I don't know. I still maintain, I don't think she's that great of an actress. I still maintain that she really did like him. She really did care about him. And that this was all that maybe, she may have said to him in passing, I thought maybe it might get some followers. And, she might have said that to him. But I don't think that, even though she wasn't bawling and mad and angry in that last scene, I sensed that there was a lot of pain and hurt and upset.
No, I think she's very closed off and shut down. I mean, she's 30 going on 60. Yeah. She's really raised herself. I think, her family background, I'm not quite sure what.
Yeah, we didn't really meet any of her family. We didn't meet
any of her family. I have a feeling that her family has struggled with different issues and she's raised herself. Mm-hmm. And she's successful. She's always had to work for everything. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have time for bullshit.
She
has nothing to fall back on and she has to make everything work for herself. So, but, I hope this doesn't scar her for life.
I don't think it will. Someone else will come along. She's really beautiful and talented.
Gorgeous.
and appropriately dressed the entire time. I thought she was the only one that was like, that white dress she wore, like all of it. I was just like, she's on point. So this is why I'm very angry about this show. Okay. So I'm thinking, this is weird. The show is ending and there's still like 5-6 minutes left. And then all of a sudden there's an ad for Perfect Match. And here's Nick Lachey. Hey, it's Nick Lachey.
As you know, obviously.
I know things about love and marriage. And so I'm the perfect person to host this new show called Perfect Match.
Well, and where's Vanessa? Why did they drop her?
I don't know. Vanessa was the backbone.
Way better than him. Yeah.
But, and then, so Perfect Match is Bartise and Damien from the first season of Love is Blind. And then a bunch of other shows I don't watch. One's like a not Love Island, but some kind of love show.
Yeah, see, I didn't know anybody except the people who were on Love is Blind. I don't know any of those other shows.
My theory is that Netflix and Nick Lachey's company, they produced Perfect Match, and they said, well, how do we promote Perfect Match? How do we get everyone to watch this ad? Okay, well, we're not going to pay, we can get all these people together. We'll get out the goblets. We'll have a party for Alexa, invite no one, because no one was really there. And, we can squeeze 3 shows out of this. Everyone's going to watch them. And at the end, they're going to watch Perfect Match.
But they did the After the Altar before, after season 2.
Yeah.
And season 1. So they were going to do it anyway.
I guess so.
It's not like they made After the Altar as a vehicle.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, my theory's gone. I just kind of felt like the whole thing was leading up to this stupid
thing. It's Netflix. They're trying to make money. This is how they do it. This is how they cross promote.
Yes.
Get with the program, Tess.
I understand that people have to cross promote, but I think I was just so irritated that this could have been 1 hour. Hey, where's everyone going? What check in with everyone, and then Alexa's party, and then the SK and Raven update, our show.
Well, yeah, it was not produced well. This show, I didn't like it. It should have been better produced, should have been different, should have been shorter.
You know what it is? I think it's almost kind of like, well, we have 3 episodes and really content for 1. Mm-hmm. So we're going to take that content and stretch it out to 3 episodes, which I understand producers have to do. But at the same time, like, God spare us. I mean, at least even 2. I just felt like, really? 3? Really? Anyway.
Well, anyway, when is season 4? When does season 4 start? Because I do love this show.
I don't know.
It should be soon.
It should be soon because then the other show came out because we were reviewing it. We were talking about it in the fall. I guess
it's only been a few months. Yeah. I mean.
So I would assume that it would be this fall.
Summer,
again.
Maybe?
Summer, fall. I don't know. I hate to you got to find another show, Brooke. Maybe you can get into Perfect Match.
Oh, gosh. No. I have some standards.
You don't want to see Bartise,
competing for love. Yeah,
again.
And they were explaining how the show worked and the rules and everything. It sounded so complicated.
It sounded very complicated.
I was like, what? No, this hurts my brain. So anyway, until next time, Love is Blind.
Yes. All right. Well, take us out, Brooke.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging in if you're still here.
Still angry.
Tess is going to take a moment to compose herself.
I am.
So if you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe and
tell a friend.
Spread the word. Leave a review and a 5-star review and rating if you can. And we will see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.